Welcome to another episode of Cyrus's podcast today from all the way from Orlando, Florida. My good friend, amazing real estate agent, founder of Align. I am so stoked to have you, Tiffany Pantozzi. Thank you for making your way downtown.
Couldn't be happier to be in Cali with you.
Yes, I love it. I am so excited. So, Tiffany, I want to talk about a couple different things, and I want to start with before real estate, and then I want to get into getting into real estate, and then building your own brand, and then what's next. So, with that being said, before you were in real estate, who was Tiffany? What did Tiffany do? Because I love your story, and we've talked about it before, but I want to dive into it a little bit more.
So I never had envisioned any path or future in real estate years ago at all. Like, it was never in the cards for me. I was in college. I was cheering for the Miami Dolphins, living in Miami, Florida, having the time of my life, right? I was going to college for fashion. I got my bachelor's in fashion merchandising and marketing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. And I got my bachelor's degree, and I started an apparel company. And I had a sports licensed apparel company where I would sell, I had every top license for every NCAA team. I had all the NBA teams, and I did some private label for NFL. So I created a collection of apparel for women at the time, pre-2010. I promise you, there was nothing in the market for women, for sports fans.
Wow.
Okay? So I created an apparel company, and I sold everything. Literally, we did bikinis, we did leggings, we did tank tops, t-shirts, dresses, to nail polish. Okay?
Where did you, when you did that, where did you come up with that idea to do sports?
Well, it's interesting because I was in college for fashion. I was cheering for the Miami Dolphins. So here is this fashion-loving sports fan who, really saw an opportunity, because I would take jerseys and I'd cut them up and make them all cool. And I'd go to the games wearing these funky, wild outfits. And it was kind of like a moment of, oh, wait, there's none of this in the market. What if I started making this and selling it, right? And then I learned, okay, well, in order to sell merchandise with a team logo on it, you have to have a license.
Yeah.
So I had to learn so much about the licensing industry and how to negotiate with these major teams and these brands, right? To get them to accept me as a licensee to use their likeness, use their brand, use their colors. Pantones are really specific, okay? And be able to put it on my merchandise and then sell it. So it was a lot that I learned. But I was from literally coast to coast, every major university, I had merchandise in their team shops.
Wow.
I was selling at Kohl's. I was selling at every major retailer. I was on Fanatics.com, you name it. So I sold millions and millions of dollars of real estate. See, my whole world is real estate.
And now we're back.
My God. Millions and millions of dollars of retail merchandise every year. And then I came to a point where the industry was changing quite substantially. You have to pay royalties to be able to use the licenses.
Yeah.
And the
royalties. You had royalty fees within your licensing contract.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would have, every team was different. So the better teams, you could pay upwards of 18 to 20%.
Oh, wow.
Just to use their brands, right? And then on top of that, you have guarantees where you're guaranteeing them, listen, I'm approved and I'm going to guarantee I'm going to sell X in merchandise to be able to give you X in royalties every year, right? So guarantees were getting higher. Royalties were getting higher. But then the retailers, on top of the 18, 20% that you were paying in a royalty just so I can put like the University of Miami logo on a merchandise, right? And then the retailers wanted 20% off of my wholesale price so that they can be competitive in their structure, their sales structure. So it was like, man, it was getting so competitive. It was getting so expensive. And I was manufacturing primarily in the United States. That was something that I was trying to pride myself in. But it became a point where I had to go overseas. Now I'm dealing with China. Now I'm dealing with Mexico. Manufacturing is very difficult. And I'm a small fish in a big sea at this point, right? Even though I'm selling millions of dollars of merchandise, I'm still competing with Under Armour and Nike and you name it. Every big sports company, retailer, because there's not a lot of them in the space, right? So I was considered boutique. And it was so challenging and difficult. And I'd sell millions of dollars of POs, which was a purchase order, right?
Yep.
And a factory, if they didn't deliver on time, if they delivered and they didn't match the Pantone so perfectly for these schools to approve, trash.
Oh,
okay?
My God.
They didn't meet my delivery deadline so we could meet football season to get it in the stores. Like so much of that, right? I was done. And it was so exhausting to me. And I was like, I work so hard. I try so hard, but I'm at the mercy of all these other people in this, business,
industry,
in this industry. So I had an opportunity where I was approached because I had assets, which were these licenses. These licenses were very hard to get. They only allowed so many people to have them. And I had assets in my licenses.
Yeah.
I had the women's apparel, leggings and athleisure wear, like workout attire. I had those licenses for major schools. I also had a license for nail polish for major schools.
Wow.
And there was a big company that came about and they actually couldn't get the license. And they were way bigger than me when it comes to like yoga wear, leggings, nail polish. They couldn't get the license because little old me had it. So they came and we negotiated a deal where they bought my company because it came with the asset. Because I had a 2-year contract on a lot of these licenses. And that's kind of what led me into saying, okay, well, I just sold my company. What's next for me? My husband owns a title company. Okay. And my mom and brother had sold real estate in South Florida. But I'm in Orlando now, right? I'm still by myself. And I was like, what's next? My whole family, my husband, everybody were like, you're getting into real estate. You're going to be so good. We know all your skill sets. We know how hard it is, but like, we know you're going to just excel at this. Like, you have to do it. And what's funny is years prior, I did go to real estate school in Miami. Okay. It was like right out of high school. I was dabbling and I just kind of blew it off. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm moving on. I want to be in fashion. Right. Yeah. And knowing what I know now, I'll be kicking myself forever because I should have got into real estate when I was in Miami, cheering for the Miami Dolphins. Like I had so many relationships down there. But whatever, your journey's your journey, right? So ultimately, they convinced me to go and try out this new path in real estate, and I had to start from scratch and completely reinvent myself as my second career. Scary. Like, am I going to be successful? Like, so many questions that you have. Like, I thought I was always going to be in fashion and doing this, so it was just that next step for me.
When you decided to take the jump from, when you sold your company, right? A lot of people, they build companies and they don't even understand what it's like to actually sell a company, right? So you sold your company, you have some success there, right? And then you go and you are going to go jump into real estate. And like you said, it's scary. Yeah. So what was going through your mind as you're getting when you got your real estate license and then you're like...
Well, for me, I'm quite a competitive person. I'm very goal-oriented.
No.
Yeah. And I'm tough on myself, right? Because I've always been somebody like, on the stage, on a main stage. Yes. I've just been that person since I was a little girl. I was dancing, I was performing, I was competing. Then I cheered for the Dolphins, and I was in the entertainment business from that perspective. And so I've always set a goal out, and I'm like, well, I have to achieve it. Like, there's no option other than success. Like, failure is not an option, right? Yeah. So coming into a place like Orlando, I also have a lot of really cool and different ideas about how I wanted to approach the real estate industry. I wasn't just going to be your average agent. I was going to do it differently, and I was going to make waves in that industry so that people recognize me and I would grow and be different. Yeah. So absolutely, it was scary, and it took a while to build momentum in my business. It's not like it happened overnight. People that might have gotten into the industry a year ago when we were in our prime, everything's booming, things were a little bit easier. But this is over 7 years ago, and the market was not like that. So you had to grind, and you didn't know when your first paycheck was going to come.
100%.
And what that meant for you. So it was scary. But ultimately, success was never going to be failure was never going to be an option for me.
So when you got into real estate, did you join a big box brokerage? Did you join a small boutique brokerage? Yeah. What was your pathway when you got in?
When I first got in, I knew that I wanted to be in the luxury space. Now, everybody says this, right? I want to be a luxury realtor. Well, okay, it's not that easy, right? Yeah. But I knew that it's all about who you surround yourself with, right? And I knew that I wanted to surround myself with other successful professionals in the field with a brand that had a luxury, presence to it. that I could learn from and that would put me in that space, right?
Yeah.
So when I was seeking out brokerages, I sought out this one. It was called Regal Real Estate Professionals. It was an affiliate of Christie's International at the time. Okay. So I knew that they did luxury and they were top producers that worked there, and that's where I wanted to be. They didn't accept new agents, right?
Yeah.
But I had a friend make a call based on my professional background and my resume. I'm not just a new agent, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a long list of skills and that I could bring to this field to be successful. So he gave me an interview. You know, we agreed and he hired me into his company. I was with them for 1 year and the brand ultimately wasn't really something that I connected with. It just was a little bit stale for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I was recruited on another brokerage locally in Central Florida. And I really was so excited about it because they were all about video at the time, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you're so ahead. Like, you guys get it. They had an in-house studio. And the broker was a nightmare. Just an absolute nightmare. He's lucky that I didn't have him be part of the Me Too movement, you know? So he was a nightmare. And I was like, this is not the place for me, you know? And at the same time, I was watching a lot on social media and I was seeing this brokerage that was just like every agent that they were, you know, sharing, I was like, they're elevated. They have, you know, this sense of, I don't know, just swag that was like, I was like, I want to be a part of that. That's how I want to represent myself, you know? And it was Compass. And at the time, they weren't in Orlando. So I reached out to Compass. I was connected with the CEO, Robert Refkin, had a private meeting with him. And we were like, you have to come to, you know, Orlando. You have to come to Orlando. And he was like, well, do you want to be the founding agent? I was like, absolutely. So I built Orlando as the founding agent for 2 years. And when it was time for them to actually come into Orlando, finally, after 2 years of being like the lone sole agent there, it was a turning point for me in that company, and it just wasn't the right fit anymore. So ultimately, I came across, you know, the company side where, you know, I was so good at branding Compass, always, and ultimately their culture wasn't the fit for me. They, you know, the leadership wasn't right for me, and I had a partner at the time in the business in real estate, which was my biggest mistake I've ever made in my career. How about this? I'll share this with you. Is thinking I needed a partner. Yeah. And this particular person not vetting them out as well as I should have. Yeah. I mean, I effed up. This was my biggest F up in my career. And it set me back quite substantially because there was a lot of headache involved with detaching from this person, a lot of problems involved. They were a very, very bad person ethically. Yeah. They stole from me. They took advantage of me. And they just fed off of what I had to offer. Yeah. And, you know what I mean? So it took a while for me to separate entirely from that person. And I'm grateful that the opportunity with Side came around to where I can just build something of my own. Yeah. And I've never been happier, and my business has never been stronger. Yeah. And I'm surrounded by the kind of people that I want to be surrounded by because I'm selecting them. Yep. You know? Yeah. It's your thing. And it's better than ever. Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, I talk to so many different agents that are, you know, top producing agents all across the country and everything like this. And not everybody goes through what you went through as far as brokerage. And sometimes people are like, oh, they're one of those the brokerage switching people, right? Like, but did you ever feel like you were like you didn't want to be that person switching brokerages so much? Totally. Or did you, like, how did you deal with that?
Yeah, because you get guilty and you're like, man, it's going to be bad for my brand, right? My name, it's bad. It looks bad. But ultimately, like, you know, you have to find your place, or like, this is my career that I want forever, you know? So if it took me 3-4 years to figure out where I needed to be, that's okay. I was still figuring it out. I mean, you know, I was so attracted to what I would call the shiny lights in the beginning of my career. I thought this person selling $12 million a year was impressive, right? This person who convinced me to be their partner and share everything I did 50-50. Meanwhile, I was the one bringing in all the business. And now today, when I do over 25 million on my own, I laugh at the fact that I was impressed by that, and I decided to give somebody 50% of everything I was doing and be able to attach their brand and their name to me. Because I was like so like impressed at the time. But now I know so much more. So I think it's okay when you're first getting in, like you got to find your place, you got to find your people, what's really valuable to you. And then once you do, then,
I love that. I love that, that you have to find your people.
Yeah.
That is so important.
And I'll say this too, find your people. So like I'm from Miami, I'm living in Orlando now. Like, listen, I dress very conservative, yet I'm a woman and I'm proud of my sexuality. And sometimes I would wear like a tighter pair of pants, right? Or a tighter fitting dress or something, but all within taste, with good taste. And, this one lady that was a top producer at that one company, she was like, I think that you should dress differently. I'm like, listen, lady, your pants are see-through. Calm down. Like, I can see your freaking thong. Like, you're talking shit to me. I'm just fine. Don't worry about me. Worry about yourself, And, like, just wasn't the right place, And you have to find your people. Like, I just did things differently. Then another thing was, like, they were always critiquing my social media at the time and, like, how I was saying things on video. I'm like, this is the way I want to do business.
Yep. And that's a big thing, like when it comes down to building your brand, building who you are. I mean, just in general, in business in general, right? Like, there's always going to be people that are going to come out and say, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, you're doing this wrong. But at the end of the day, like, you have to build what's best for you. And I truly believe, like, in life, you have two things that, in order to have like a happy and fulfilling life, I really think there's two things you need to do. It's do what you want. Not what everybody around you wants, not what your significant other. No, do what makes you happy, right? And then love, like care for other people. It doesn't need to be romantically. Just care for other people. You do those two things, and you have a fulfilling life, right? It's the same way in business. Like you have to go and do what is right for you in your business, and then take care of your people,
right? And
I can see that that's what you've done because I know what you've built with Align. And so when you made that step for Align and you have that avatar of those people that you want to surround yourself with and things like that, what was it like building your own company and stepping into building your own brand as a founder of a new company, right? You sold a company, you went and joined all these other companies, you weren't happy there, and then you finally decided, hey, look, I'm going to do my own thing and built your own company again, right? And now, what's that felt like as you've been building this through? Because you guys are absolutely crushing it.
Thank you. Well, it's different this time around building this company versus my other company, which is called Miss Fanatic. So it's different because Miss Fanatic, I was the boss. Yeah. And it was just me, and I sold merchandise, right? Now with Align, although I'm the boss, I have humans, like other people that are also trying to get out there and earn and build something for themselves,
more
for their career. More responsibility. It's different. There's more like interaction where like, they don't have to choose Align. Yeah. They can leave anytime, right? So they're making a choice to work with me, to stand alongside me, and that's a responsibility, right? Yeah. And that means a lot to me. So I care for these people. I want to see them succeed. I want them to crush way beyond where I'm even selling, right? So it's a much bigger responsibility from this real estate, business versus where I was in my apparel business.
Do you feel like you enjoy the mentorship side of things? This is how I feel. Like I love the mentorship side way more than I enjoy actually transacting, right? Is that the same feeling 100%.
So I love marketing. That's like my jam. I have so much fun coming up with fun marketing ideas. And the mentorship side of things I really do enjoy because I see paths for people. I know, I'm like, do this. I know this will help you get to here. Like even like qualities that other people may have that I don't have. Yeah. I'm like, wow, I know you can be good at this because of X, Y, and Z. So you should do this. Like, I'm great at giving advice, I really am. But it's also challenging at times when people don't take that advice, right?
Well, yeah, and I think that it's also like, I think the reason it's challenging is because, I mean, for me specifically, right, is like, I love to give advice. I love to help people. And when they don't take the advice, it's like, so why am I spending my time and my energy when I can be spending my time and my energy with somebody else to help them grow? Yes. And then like you learn from experiences in life and they don't need to be your own, right? And you've had a lot of experience in this business. You've had a lot of experience in general in business and marketing and structure and things like this. And this is why you've been successful in this space. So I could totally understand why that is.
Well, let's talk about experience. So I speak from experience, right?
Yep.
I will only tell people in my company, I want you to do X, Y, and Z because I'm not too proud to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I will do anything I'm telling you to do. I'll try it myself, or I've already done it, and that's why I'm advising you to do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, even today, I'm like, you have to be doing open houses every week.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be doing it. That's how I started. Like, if I look at your volume and I see that you just don't have the numbers that you are, you're not on your trajectory to hit your goals, then what are you doing every weekend? Because I know what I was doing when I was trying to make a career in real estate. I was door knocking and doing open houses, right?
Yep.
So, like, I will always, come from a place of, this is what I would do.
Yep.
Not too proud to get down to the basics, no matter what level of I am in my business. But, hoping that they'll take that advice and see that, if they give it a chance, it'll work.
Yeah, exactly. I tell every single one of my agents, look, everything I tell you to do, I've done it, I've tried it, I've been there, and done it.
That's
so,
why.
like, I'll give you the cheat code. Like, don't take the stairs. Let me give you the elevator. Like, let me give you an entrance, But sometimes they still want to take the stairs. And if they want to take the stairs, I'm like, hey, maybe our company is not the right fit for you.
And it's wild because it's like, dude, like, I'm giving you the path. I'm giving you, like, on a platter. I didn't have the platter handed to me when I started real estate.
100%.
I mean, I had to figure it all out.
Yeah.
So, how many agents would love to sit beside you and I and say, give me the roadmap. And we're giving our people that roadmap. But it's crazy. It has to, some of them will succeed. They'll take your advice, and some of them won't.
Yeah, 100%. So now you have a killer team of agents. You've absolutely crushed it in this business as far as marketing goes, as far as just your branding is amazing. I could spend 3 hours talking to you about how to brand and everything like that because I know it. But what's next for Tiffany and Align?
Well, right now, I think that we really are still working on our core group of agents that are representing Align. I think that we still need to find another good, handful of top agents in the state of Florida that want to join us.
So growth,
because, listen, I'm in it for the long run. Real estate that's it. Like, I'll be in this game until I'm old and gray, Well, I already have some grays. But, I think that finding your tribe of people that want to run with you like that is really what I'm looking for the long term. And that's what I think I'm going to be focusing on next is really finding those people and bringing them into Align.
I love that. And I love that you're consistently chasing growth. I think that's amazing. And I think that you've really found the people that you're looking for. And your avatar of the agent, and you're very strict on that, and I love that.
You have to be.
Now, Tiffany,
make it a special place, for them to be and feel proud that they're there.
And you have a great culture, right? Mm-hmm. So like it's just all around. Like you've built a very amazing company, and I commend you for that. Your where do people find you if they want to reach out to you? They want to say what's up.
Yeah.
Where could they reach out to you?
Please say what's up. I mean, the best place first is to follow us on Instagram because that's where we're the most active on a daily basis. Secondly, would be follow us on YouTube because we're always putting out great content on there as well. But
so we'll drop those links inside the description here. But just for the people listening, maybe they're driving in the car, they want to take a note. What's your Instagram handle?
At Tiffany Pantozzi. TIFFANY PANTOZZI.
And Align's
Align is at Align Agents. ALIGNAGENTS.
Awesome, Tiffany. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much for sharing your story. And we'll have to have you come back on so we can share a little bit more.
Absolutely. Next time you come to Orlando, listen, I came to the West Coast, you come to East Coast next.
All right, you got it.
Okay.